everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that everyone is joining again. In this episode, we are making Mille-Feuilles. So Mille-Feuilles dessert is from France and is directly translated as thousands sheets, layers of sheets. This one is one of French most difficult pastry to achieve, but according to this recipe book, this is the simplest recipe that can help us to achieve Mille-Feuilles. But of course, if you would like to just skip the making of the Mille-Feuilles, the puff pastry, you can buy it from the grocery store. But here I am just going to show everyone that we can also make it at home, and it actually tastes much better. To those who are new here, this is my 2024 baking challenge, where I challenge myself to bake every single recipe from my recipe book by Julia, the winner of the Meilleur Pâtissier 2023. And I already prepared everything, the ingredients, the utensils, etc. Let's get to the baking. So the first step for us to prepare our pate feuilletée is to prepare a large bowl. Pour in the flour, add in the butter that has been cut into smaller pieces, and also the salt and the sugar. Mix this together until you obtain sort of like a ball. For this step, ensure that the butter doesn't mix into the flour, into the mixture too much, because what we want is for the butter to stay in its small pieces, and this will help for the pastry to get puffy and flaky. In the meantime, while mixing these ingredients, we are going to add the water little by little, just for it to get incorporated among all of the ingredients. Once this is done, we are going to keep it inside a cling film, wrap it together into a bowl, and then we are going to keep it in the fridge for 1 hour. After the 1 hour is up, we are going to flour our working table, where we are going to roll the dough and put the dough on top of the flour. I usually also pour some flour on the rolling pin, just so it doesn't stick on my rolling pin while I'm rolling the dough. For this, we are going to roll our dough into 60 cm by 15 cm, and then we are going to fold the dough, the top into the middle, and then the bottom on top of the first layer. Making sure that before we roll it, we are going to turn the dough to the right and continue rolling, and then again folding it like we did in the first time. And then we are going to do this for 5 more times, in total of 6 times of folding and rolling our dough. So now is the best time to preheat our oven at 180 degrees Celsius. For this step, if the dough started to get difficult to work with, for example, like it gets sticky and then the butter started to melt, wrap it back inside our silicone cover and then place it inside the fridge for about 30 minutes, or you can put in the freezer for about 10 minutes, and then continue the folding until the 6 times. Once this is ready, we are going to divide the dough into 2, and then we are going to roll it. And then this, I will use my measuring tape to ensure that I get the correct measurement. So here we are going to measure 30 cm by length and 8 cm by width. This, we are going to need 3 layers of the Mille-Feuilles. So I'm gonna do 2 first, and then the next one I will continue doing the other one. And then after that, we are going to place it on top of our baking tray that has been covered with a baking paper. And then we are going to place another baking paper on top of the dough, and then place a baking tray on top of the second baking paper. This step is crucial, to put the tray on top of the second baking paper, because it helps to prevent the puff pastry to get puffed up too much, so it controls the puffiness of the puff pastry. Once this is done, we are going to bake this for around 30 minutes. After the 30 minutes, we are going to take out the pate feuilletée, remove the baking tray as well as the baking paper, and we are going to sprinkle some icing sugar on top of our dough. And then we are going to change the oven temperature to 220 degrees Celsius. Place the pate feuilletée back into the oven just to let the sugar caramelize for about 5 minutes. But be careful with this step because the caramelization can get very quick and then you're gonna get it burnt. So keep an eye on it. It might not take until 5 minutes, maybe even 1, 2 minutes or 3 minutes depending on your oven. And for my case here, I overlooked at the oven and then my pate feuilletée already burned slightly. I mean, like caramelized too much on top of it. So this one is fine. I have a few more dough that I can make sure that it doesn't burn. Once this is ready, we're just going to leave it to cool on top of a cooling rack and then continue to bake the rest of the pate feuilletée. Now I can understand that it's quite difficult to place the rolled dough on top of the baking tray due to the elasticity of our dough. So for this, I have a tip. Just roll the dough, cut it into the correct measurement, and then wrap it back again. Place it back in the freezer for about 2 to 3 minutes. Take it out from the freezer and you can simply just transfer it on top of our baking tray. But make sure that it's fully unfrozen before you put inside the oven. So the room temperature pastry, they bake according to the size, whereas the frozen pastry, it's a little bit shorter because it doesn't expand to where it should be, and it actually shorten the size of our pastry. So make sure to bake it after it reaches at the room temperature. The second step we need to do is to prepare the crème pâtissier vanille. So to that, we are going to need these ingredients. So, to prepare our crème pâtissier, we are going to add our egg yolks inside a bowl, adding together the sugar along with the vanilla beans with its pot itself, and then beat it until it's thoroughly mixed. Then we are going to add the cornstarch, continue mixing it until there is no more grain and it's all mixed up thoroughly. In a saucepan, we are going to heat the milk together with the rest of the sugar until it's simmering, and then we are going to transfer the milk into our egg yolk mixture. Continue beating it while pouring it. After that, we are going to transfer the mixture back into the saucepan and then cook it in a medium fire until it's slightly boiling. For this part, it's very important to keep on stirring it because we don't want it to get clumped together too much, and using a whisk is the best way. Once it's boiling for about 20 seconds, we are going to transfer the crème pâtissier onto a flat plate and then cover it using a cling film, touching the surface of the crème pâtissier. Then we are going to keep it inside the fridge until it's completely cold for about 1 hour. So another ingredients that we are going to need is the strawberry confit, but I already prepared this. You can have a look at my episode 13 where I made the coffre visité. I made the strawberry confit there, and you can have a look at the ingredients and the steps how I made this. And we finally arrived at the assembly part, and this is usually the most fun part because we are putting it together and it's coming to how it looks like from the book, from what we see in the shop, in the pastry shop. So let's get on with the assembly. To start our assembly, we are going to take out our crème pâtissier first out of the fridge. And then we're just going to beat it using our whisk just to loosen it. If you find that some of the crème pâtissier texture is slightly clumpy, you can use a strainer, pour on top of it, use a spatula to strain it, and you can get a smooth texture of crème pâtissier. After finish loosen up our crème pâtissier, we are going to transfer this inside a piping bag. And we're gonna cut about 1.5 centimeters at the tip of our piping bag. Before we start the assembly part, I would suggest to just trim the edges of the pate feuilletée so that it has a straight cut just for presentation wise. And since our pate feuilletée is quite long, I'm going to just cut it into two just so I can achieve the serving for one person. And then I'm gonna place this on a serving plate, and the first thing is to just pour the crème pâtissier around the edges of our pate feuilletée, and in the middle we are going to add the strawberry confit together with some strawberry that has been cut into pieces. Once that's done, we are going to add the second layer of our pate feuilletée and doing the same again. And then we're going to place the last pate feuilletée. Actually, mille-feuilles usually serve at the flat surface, but from the book, it looks much prettier when it's standing. So I'm going to make my mille-feuille standing and then just straighten the edges, cleaning the edges from the crème pâtissier, and our mille-feuille is actually done. But we are going to do the decoration. Since you're still watching, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to watch more of this baking. Okay, let's just continue making this mille-feuille. So for decoration, we are going to need these ingredients. And we are also going to need chantilly. So chantilly, I have already prepared it earlier. You can have a look at my episode 13 again and go revisiter where I make the chantilly there. So for the whipping cream, it's actually very easy. You only need 250 grams of the whipping cream and then 20 grams of the icing sugar. Beat it until you achieve like a shaving cream texture and you have the whipping cream. So this we are going to transfer into a piping bag, and I'm using this piping tip. This one is a round nozzle piping tip number 10, and the other one is a Wilton 125, also known as the Son Honore. So if you are using the round piping tip, you're just going to pipe a small balls on top of the mille-feuille. Add the strawberries. The result is so beautiful, as you can see. I understand that it's quite challenging for the pate feuilletée part, so that is why you can opt to buy the puff pastry in the grocery store. But of course, if you want it to have a better taste, this is the ingredients. And so that we are going to try our mille-feuille. Let's try this now. It tasted so good. The crème pâtissier is not too sweet, and although I have to say that my pate feuilletée is slightly burnt, but it's not that bad. You can't taste the burn, and then that's why I said that we need to be careful when we put it inside the oven. But other than that, it works perfectly together, and then it's really giving a fresh taste when we add the strawberry with the pate feuilletée and the crème pâtissier. And the aesthetic wise is also much more beautiful when we add the chantilly on top of our mille-feuille. This you can definitely make it at any time, any event, and then maybe just challenge yourself and impress yourself or even your friends and family. This is definitely a treat. I will definitely try to make this again somewhere in the future. And I'm gonna make my pate feuilletée skill much better. This I will rate for myself probably around B+. I know it's not that high, but I put so much effort for it, and apparently It doesn't have much layers that I was hoping it to be, and it's actually quite thick for a mille-feuille. So for this, I give a B+. Of course, I'm going to put the ingredients recap right over here so you can have a look at it, pause the video if you need to, and then take a screenshot. And of course, if you try this recipe, let me know in the comment down below. I really would love to know the result of how you made it. And we have reached to the end of this episode. Thank you again everyone for watching and joining me baking this time. I really enjoy baking this. This is my first time making mille-feuille and it turned out not too bad. The next episode we will be making pavlova au fruits. So it's a fruit pavlova with a lot of fruits like framboise, raspberry, and blueberries, and maybe some mangoes depending on the season. But it's going to be an interesting one because it's not difficult. It's an easy recipe. So this one will definitely be achievable for everyone. And I hope to see you guys again next time. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this video with everyone who would love to try to make mille-feuille using the easiest recipe. And if you guys still watching, on to the next episode.